To the world, he was Dayvon Bennett, but he was far better known as the charismatic and controversial rap star King Von. His music, a dizzying whirlwind of raw, cinematic stories from the streets, captivated millions of listeners around the globe. His fans heard a master storyteller, an artist painting a brutally vivid picture of a life defined by daily conflict and survival. But while the music world was mesmerized, law enforcement saw something else entirely. They saw the prime suspect in a long and bloody string of unsolved murders, a man whose shockingly violent lyrics seemed to mirror, with terrifying accuracy, the grim reality of Chicago's deadliest neighborhoods. This leaves a crucial question hanging over his entire legacy. Was King Von a brilliant storyteller simply holding a mirror up to his environment? Or was he using his music as a public ledger, a way to confess his sins and catalog a terrifying double life? To truly understand the man and the artist, you have to go back to where it all began: Parkway Garden Homes. This sprawling apartment complex on Chicago's South Side is known to the world as O'Block, a name that has become infamous in modern culture. It's a place tragically synonymous with both the city's heartbreaking murder rate and the explosive birth of drill music. The environment itself was a crucible, shaping the lives of those within it long before they had a choice. With his father, Walter E. Bennett, in and out of prison for most of his childhood and killed when Von was just 11, Von was raised primarily by his mother. He was a bright kid, earning good grades in his early school years, a sign of the potential that lay within. But on the South Side, especially in O'Block, the streets have a powerful, almost gravitational pull. He grew up right alongside future rap superstars like Chief Keef and was a childhood friend of Lil Durk, forming bonds that would define his life and career. Like them, he became deeply affiliated with the Black Disciples gang. It was inside a jail cell that he would earn the nickname Grandson, a name steeped in street history. Older inmates claimed his tough, respected demeanor reminded them of David Barksdale, the legendary founder of the Black Disciples. This was the central paradox of his existence: the sharp, magnetic storyteller on one hand, and the feared, respected street enforcer on the other. His legal troubles kicked off early and escalated quickly. At just 16, he was locked up for armed robbery, an experience he'd later deconstruct with chilling detail in his track, Armed and Dangerous. This was just the first of many significant run-ins with the law that would keep him cycling in and out of the justice system for much of his youth, building his fearsome reputation long before he ever decided to touch a microphone. Long before King Von's music career exploded into the mainstream, Chicago police detectives already saw him as a major player and an alleged triggerman in the city's relentless gang wars. He was a person of interest in several high-profile murders, but securing charges proved nearly impossible. In these neighborhoods, a code of silence reigned supreme. Witnesses simply would not talk, a familiar and frustrating problem in countless gang-related investigations. The rumors and sprawling online theories that surround him point to a staggering number of violent crimes, with some amateur sleuths connecting him to as many as 7 unsolved murders. This underground speculation erupted into the open after his death, when purported Chicago Police Department documents were leaked online. These unconfirmed papers appeared to name him as the killer in the 2014 murder of 17-year-old Gakira K.I. Barnes, a rival gang member with a formidable reputation of her own. The killing of Barnes is believed by many to have been a major catalyst, intensifying the bloody war between Von's Black Disciples and rival factions like the Gangster Disciples. This ongoing conflict often centered around acts of disrespect toward fallen members, most notably Shondale Tuka Gregory, whose name became a common and venomous taunt in drill lyrics. Von frequently and infamously mentioned "smoking on Tuka," a line meant to show the ultimate disrespect to the deceased rival and his entire gang. This alleged pattern of violence seemed to continue unabated. The 2012 murder of another rival named Modell was a cold case for years until more alleged police documents surfaced after Von's death, identifying him as the primary suspect based on an eyewitness account. Online investigators and documentarians also point to a string of brutal revenge killings that reportedly followed the death of his best friend, T. Roy, in 2017. While Von was incarcerated at the time, street legend maintains that his crew embarked on a violent campaign at his behest, a prime example of the brutal, proxy-driven street wars Vaughn was allegedly at the center of. For the police and his rivals, he was a menace who embodied the tragic, self-perpetuating cycle of violence. When King Von finally turned his attention to rapping, his music gave investigators a whole new, unprecedented angle. His lyrics were often shockingly specific, leading to a widespread belief that Vaughn was self-snitching, hiding his confessions in plain sight for the world to hear. In 2018, his life changed forever. Freshly released from a long jail stint, his childhood friend Lil Durk signed him to his record label, Only the Family. It was then that he dropped his breakout single, Crazy Story. The track went viral almost instantly. It was a masterclass in narrative suspense, a minute-by-minute account of a robbery gone wrong that felt terrifyingly real, precisely because it was rooted in a reality his listeners understood. His confession-style lyrics quickly became his signature. After the high-profile murder of rival rapper FBG Duck, many interpreted a line in Vaughn's track GTA, "He made a diss and now he a ghost," as a direct and blatant claim of responsibility. Another track, Took Her to the O, tells a tense, detailed story of a romantic encounter that turns violent after he discovers the woman is connected to a rival from 63rd, a clear reference to the territory of FBG Duck's crew. This audacious approach fueled both his authenticity as an artist and the darkest suspicions about his life off the microphone. The songs weren't just stories. They were seen by many as detailed chronicles of his crimes. His debut album, Welcome to a Block, solidified his status, climbing to number 5 on the Billboard 200 and making him a legitimate star. But by this point, the line between Dayvon Bennett the suspect and King Von the artist had all but disappeared. For King Von, fame was not an escape hatch. It was an accelerant. In 2019, he and Lil Durk were arrested for a shooting outside a popular Atlanta drive-in, facing a slate of serious felony charges. It was a stark reminder that Vaughn had, as many of his fans and critics put it, brought the trenches with him. He hadn't left his past behind. He had simply relocated it. In the fall of 2020, King Von was at the absolute zenith of his career. His debut studio album, Welcome to a Block, was released on October 30th, just a single week before his death. But his final days were not a celebration. His social media accounts were filled with increasingly aggressive taunts aimed at a rival rapper from Georgia, Quando Rondo. On November 6, 2020, outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, it all came to a violent head. An argument between Vaughn's crew and Rondo's crew in the parking lot escalated into a physical brawl, and then, inevitably, into gunfire. King Von was shot multiple times. He was rushed to a hospital but died from his injuries. He was 26 years old. King Von's legacy is as complicated and fraught as his life was. Since his death, his music has only grown more popular, with 2 posthumous albums becoming enormous commercial successes. His story has morphed into a modern folktale in the world of hip-hop, a potent symbol of raw, unfiltered storytelling. But the central question remains unanswered. Was he merely a product of his violent environment, a traumatized chronicler of the chaos that surrounded him? Or was he an active and willing driver of that violence? The truth likely exists somewhere in the gray, murky area between the celebrated artist and the alleged killer. His life stands as a tragic and cautionary tale about the cycle of violence that grips so many communities, raising difficult and uncomfortable questions about art, crime, and the increasingly blurry lines between them. The most haunting and complex story King Von ever told was, without a doubt, his own.